Now, hold on one second. So where we left off yesterday was on page 73. Okay, hold on. So jury was not present, and today we're going to go over the surveillance. Okay, and the court, please be seated. Do either of the parties have anything to raise before we adjourn for lunch? And Ms. Comey, not from us, Your Honor. The court, Mr. Steele. Good afternoon, Your Honor. I just want to call the court's attention. The prosecutor for the first witness is going to attempt to introduce. I believe she's very professional. Told me 2 exhibits. It's Government Exhibit 7R141 as well as Government Exhibit 7R148. I will have an objection to both. I just want to give you a heads up in case you wanted to discuss it at all. I didn't want to slow down the case, the court. Well, in the future, let's try to have these things raised the day before, because in this kind of situation, what I will have done is have the parties address these issues at the beginning of the day. That's just for the next time. But for now, what are these exhibits and what is the objection? Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, I can take it from here. We apologize for not raising this until today. The government has been conferring with defense about business record stipulations, and the government had thought that we reached an agreement over the weekend. The defense informed us that they would not be stipulating to the admissibility of these particular records. So an issue here for the first witness that the government intends to call, that's one of the security guards at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016. The 2 exhibits are 2 separate incident reports. I have paper copies of those exhibits if Your Honor would like to see them. Essentially, the first exhibit is an incident report that the security guard drafted and sent per hotel policy and practice approximately 3 hours after the incident. The report included the guard's, a recounting of his personal observations and interactions with the defendant and victim 1. This particular report included photos that were taken of the hotel lobby that showed the broken vase and the damage caused to the lobby. This first report was drafted and sent by the guard before he had reviewed the video surveillance. So the second incident report that the government intends to offer is exactly the same as the first, but includes an addendum that describes the video surveillance that he reviewed after the incident. So this guard will testify that drafting and sending incident reports like these were part of his responsibilities as a security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel, and that he drafted and sent incident reports like these in the normal course of his duties. As I mentioned, both incident reports were sent immediately after the incident in question. So the government obtained these incident reports along with other documents from the parent corporation of the hotel, along with the business records certification also produced by the parent corporation. And under these circumstances, the government's position is that these incident reports are admissible under the business record exception to hearsay. That's 8036. And I'm happy to get further into why the government submits that the conditions laid out in 8036 are met here. The court. Well, I mean, you're going to have the witness prove it up, right, Ms. Slavic? Of course. The witness will lay the foundation for entry of these documents as business records. The court, right? You don't have the individual who executed the stipulation. You're not relying on that. Ms. Slavic, that's right. The court. You're relying on what you have from the parent corporation. You have the Ms. Slavic. Who drafted and sent the documents exactly? The court. So, Mr. Steele, what's the nature of the objection? Mr. Steele, Your Honor, the objection is threefold. First of all, on the exhibits 7R148, Your Honor, there is an addendum. As the prosecutor told you, and this is the speculation of the witness, he's watching, he's a security guard. He comes up to the 6th floor of this hotel. He interacts with Cassie and Mr. Combs, and then he goes back down eventually to his office, and he watches the video recording that he had not seen before. Then he details his opinions about that recording that he does not have personal knowledge of, including that Mr. Combs attempted to take Cassie's phone away. I don't believe that he would know whose phone that is from watching that video. No personal knowledge. In addition to that, Your Honor, he has impressions in the body of both the exhibits 141 and 148, such as in the second paragraph that Mr. Combs began to offer me a bribe. That's a quote, Your Honor. That is his mental impression. I just don't want the document to go in. I understand he's a witness. We'll cross-examine him. I'm not objecting to that. I'm objecting to this document going into evidence. In addition to that, Your Honor, he talks about in the third full paragraph that he did not want Mr. Combs to see Cassie. That is when Cassie is outside waiting on her car, and he talks about what he himself did not want, meaning that Mr. Combs was going to come back down off the 6th floor, which did not happen. And he talks about a co-worker, 80 or a day. He went up to room 602 with Mr. 80, Addy, I would say Addy, and that Mr. Combs, he speculates, is about to start yelling. My point is, Your Honor, that I believe that all of that is speculation. It should not go in on either document. He also writes in the third paragraph that if Mr. Combs touches Mr. Addy again, the Los Angeles Police Department would escort Mr. Combs from the hotel property. There is no police there. There is no police call. There is no discussion of the police. So I don't believe that under 8036E that this document is trustworthy. It is not all based on personal knowledge, and under 403, there are parts of it that are prejudicial. And I don't believe that it should come in either document. The court, all right, I think you've got to, you anticipated my question, so your objection comes under 8036E and 403, right? Mr. Steele, fair. The court, okay, I understand. So Ms. Slavic, do you have the paper copies? Could you hand them up? Ms. Slavic, I do, Your Honor. The court, so we'll pick this up after the lunch break. Anything further, Mr. Steele? Mr. Steele, no, sir. The court, all right, we are all adjourned. We will come back at 1:15. In open court, jury is not present. The court, in terms of the objection raised before our break to 7R, Mr. Agnafilo. Judge, I apologize. We're just waiting for the defendant. He isn't quite here yet. The court, oh, thank you for giving me the heads up, Mr. Agnafilo. No, that's all right. Thank you, Judge. The court, all right, before we bring the jury back, there was an objection raised to two of the government's exhibits, 7R 141 and 7R 148. My understanding is that they are identical except for the added notes on 7R 148. As to 7R 141, subject to the government laying the proper foundation under 8036, the exhibit is admissible, so we'll see whether the foundation can be laid. As to 7R 148, my understanding is that in addition to the objection on 803 grounds, Mr. Steele, the principal objection is to the added notes under 403, and I think the objection is well taken. We're going to have whatever video evidence is presented to the jury presented, and the jury can draw its own inferences and its own conclusions based on the review of the video. The added notes here are the individual's characterization of what he saw. And I think principally the objection is under Rule 403 that his impressions and opinions concerning a video that the jury is going to see is potentially prejudicial. And there is very little probative value given that the video will be shown to the jury. So on that basis, 7R 148 will be excluded. All right. Is the government, well, let's get the jury back and then we can proceed. But any reason we cannot proceed at this time, Ms. Slavic? Ms. Slavic, nor your honor, the court. Mr. Agnafilo, nor your honor, the court. All right, let's bring back our jury. Jury is present. The court, is the government prepared to call its first witness? Ms. Slavic, your honor, before the government calls its first witness, The government moves to enter 4 stipulations agreed to between the parties. As Government Exhibit 1301, 1302, 1303, and 1304. The court, any objection? Mr. Agnafilo, nor your honor. The court, all right. Government's exhibits are, all those are received into evidence. Ms. Slavic. And with that, the government calls its first witness, Officer Israel Florez. The court, all right, the witness may approach. The deputy clerk, remain standing for a moment. Please raise your right hand. Israel Florez, called as a witness by the government, having been duly sworn, testifies as follows. The court, Ms. Slavic, you may proceed. Direct examination. Ms. Slavic, so direct examination by Ms. Slavic. Good afternoon, Officer Florez. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record? Israel Florez, Israel, Florez, Flrez. Officer Florez, are you currently employed? Yes, ma'am. What do you do? I'm a police officer for the Los Angeles Police Department. Is that commonly referred to as the LAPD? Yes, ma'am. How long have you been on LAPD police officer? How long have you been an LAPD police officer? A little over 7 years. Approximately when did you start? 2018. Do you currently have any other jobs? Yes. What are those? I'm a reservist for the Army. How long have you been a reservist in the Army? A little over 15 years. And what did you do for work prior to joining the LAPD? I was a security guard. Did you work for a specific company? Yes, ma'am. What company was that? Securitas. What kind of company is Securitas? It's a high-rise security company, so they deal with high-rise buildings and hotels and stuff. And is it a contractor? Yes, ma'am. Approximately how long did you work for Securitas? 10 years. And did you work for Securitas in March 2016? Yes, ma'am. What location were you working at in March 2016? I was working for the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City. Where is Century City? It's a neighboring city next to Beverly Hills. Is that in the Los Angeles area? Yes, ma'am. Were you working there on March 5th, 2016? Yes, ma'am. Officer Florez, at a high level, can you explain to the jury what happened during your shift on March 5th, 2016? I was at the security base. I received a call from Instant Services saying there was a woman in distress on the 6th floor. And did you respond to that call? Yes, ma'am. And what happened after you responded? After I responded, when I got out of the elevator, I observed the male and female in the elevator lobby. Did you recognize the male and female? Yes, ma'am. Who did you recognize them to be? Mr. Combs, Sean Combs. And sitting here today in court, do you see Mr. Combs? Yes, ma'am. Can you identify him by describing a piece of clothing that he is wearing? I think he's wearing a gray sweater. Ms. Slavic, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant. Now, Officer Florez, we'll come back to this incident that you've described at a high level involving Mr. Combs, but first, what was your title as Securitas in March 2016? I was the assistant director of security. How long did you hold that title? For about a little over a year. And what were your responsibilities as the assistant director of security at the Intercontinental Hotel? Pretty much deal with any incidents that happen in the hotel, any trainings for new employees, assisted the director with what is it like any new employee for the hotel that needed training for security purposes. I would assist with that. And so you were the assistant director, is that right? Yes, ma'am. While you were the assistant director, who was the director of security? The director was Bill Madrano. And after what was your next position after being assistant director of security at the Intercontinental? I became the director at the Intercontinental as well. Yes, ma'am. And when did you become the director of security at the Intercontinental? I believe at the beginning of 2017, the end of 2016, beginning of 2017. What are your responsibilities as a director of security? Pretty much the same thing I just mentioned, but also now I will be facilitating the training for the whole hotel, and I attend a lot more meetings with the hotel staff and managers. How long were you director of security? Like a year or a little bit over. When did you leave Securitas? 2018. And why did you leave? I got hired on with Los Angeles Police Department. Officer Flores, I want to focus now on the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City. Miss Lavick, Miss Gavin, can you please publish for the witness, the court, and the parties government exhibits 2B124 and 2B125? Officer Flores, do you see the photos on the screen in front of you? Yes, ma'am. Do you recognize these photos? Yes, ma'am. What are they? Pictures of the Intercontinental Hotel. And how do you know that? It's a very unique hotel. It's like a pyramid-shaped hotel in Century City. Are these photos fair and accurate depictions of the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City as it existed in March 2016? Yes, ma'am. Miss Lavick, Your Honor, the government officers, government exhibit 2B124 and 2B125 into evidence, and the court. Any objection? Mr. Steele, no, Your Honor. The court, those exhibits will be admitted. Miss Lavick, Miss Gavin, can you please publish these exhibits for the jury? Officer Flores, can you please explain to the jury what they are looking at in government exhibits 2B124 and 2B125? They are looking at the Intercontinental Hotel. And where is that located once again? In Century City. Thank you, Officer Flores. Miss Lavick, Miss Gavin, you can take this down. Now turning back to your role as a security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel, approximately how many other people worked as security officers at the Intercontinental Hotel in March 2016? About like 12. And how generally were those 12 or so officers staffed? It was pretty much 3 per shift, and we had 3 shifts. Can you describe what shifts there were? Yes. Morning, which was 6 to 2 p.m., afternoon, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and nights, which was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And you said that 3 officers staffed each shift. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Of those 3 officers, were any of them supervisors? Yes, ma'am. Now, generally speaking, where were security officers stationed during their shifts? So if there was all 3 of them working on the shift, the supervisor would stay in the security base, and then the other 2 would be doing patrols, one inside and one outside. Now, you mentioned security base. Can you explain to the jury what the security base is? Just our security office. We used to just call it base for shorter or slang. Now, moving on to a slightly different topic. Did the Intercontinental Hotel have a video surveillance system in March 2016? Yes, ma'am. Can you describe that system? It had 3 systems. One covered the roof, the other one the interior of the hotel, and then the other system covered the parking lot. I want to focus on the video surveillance system that was on the interior of the hotel, where the cameras within that system. Where generally were the cameras within that system? Obviously, every floor had cameras. There would be 1 on the elevator lobby and then 2 on the hallway, one facing north, the other one facing south. And depending on the floor, there would be more cameras if there was more hallways, more turns. But at least 3 cameras per floor. Yes, ma'am. Did the cameras run continuously? They were motion, so yes. So they ran continuously. Yes, ma'am. Did they record continuously? Only when there was motion on the cameras. They were motion activated. Yes, ma'am. What, if any, responsibilities did security staff have with respect to video surveillance? Just review cameras. That's pretty much it. Where could security staff review the video surveillance? So we had obviously our security base where we could review it, and supervisors and the director. There was another room. It was like the main room, and that was pretty much to troubleshoot the cameras if we had to, and you could also review cameras there. So you specified 2 different rooms. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. The security base, is that right? Yes. What had access to the security base? Every security officer. And you mentioned a main room. Is that the term you used? Yes, ma'am. Who had access to the main room? The supervisors and the director of security. Did anyone else at the hotel monitor video surveillance? No, it was just us. If anybody needed to review footage, they would come to us. Now, the security staff had the ability to rewind video surveillance. Yeah, we were able to rewind, but it was only for like a good amount. It wasn't like, so you couldn't rewind further back than specific days. And if you did want to, then you would need a passcode or a password to do that. Did you have a password or a passcode to rewind farther from however many days. No, ma'am. Was it possible to download video surveillance? If you had that password, I'm sure you were able to. Who among the security staff had the ability to download video surveillance with the passcode? The director of security and the camera guy? Who is the camera guy? I don't remember his name. Was he a member of the security staff? No, he was like a third party company. Did you have the passcode to download or rewind video surveillance? When I became the director, I did, but not at that time. Not in March 2016? No, ma'am. Now, you mentioned a moment ago that one of your responsibilities as a security officer at the Intercontinental included responding to incidents. Do you remember that? Yes, ma'am. What exactly do you mean by responding to incidents? Pretty much any incident, like there is an altercation, trespass, any fights, we've had a couple suicides there, so any suicides, just anything out of the ordinary. Did you have to document your response to incidents? Yes, ma'am. How exactly did you document your response to incidents? So we would do our incident reports where just pretty much an email sent out to all the department heads. And did you have a name for these sorts of emails that you would send to department heads? Yeah, just incident reports. What information were you required to include in an incident report? Who, the 5 W's, and how? The 5 W's? Yes, ma'am. Can you explain to the jury what the 5 W's are? Who, what, when, where, and why? What determined whether you filed an incident report or not? Anything that had to do with the hotel. So if there's like destruction at the hotel or anything that specific department heads needed to know, we would send those emails out. Did you include any attachments to incident reports? Yes, ma'am. What sort of attachments? Just pictures. And where would the pictures come from when you attach them to incident reports? So if we had a camera at our security office, so if we would use that camera, but if let's say they didn't charge it, we would use our phones and take pictures with our phones and then send it to as an attachment. And what determined whether you would attach a photo to an incident report or not? Like I said, anything that's like out of the ordinary, there's anything that was broken, anything that was damaged, that's sort of. Did you attach video surveillance to incident reports? No, ma'am. Why not? We didn't have the password and we didn't know how to do it. Did you otherwise reference video surveillance in the incident reports? Yes, ma'am. How did you do that? So we had the emails that we sent out, and then we had a book which was like our pass down book, and anybody that was like coming into the shift, we would pretty much let them know what happened, like a brief summary of what happened in that book, and we would just tell them like see email, and then they would know to go to the out to the sent emails, and that's how they would get it. And when you reference video surveillance in these email incident reports, what did you include? The timestamp of the video and the location of the video. The location of the video? Yes, ma'am. What do you mean by that? So if it happened on the 7th floor, we would put 7th floor camera, north camera, or lobby camera. Who did you send incident reports to? I would send it to my director. I would send it to the committee for the hotel, which was all the department heads. As if it had to do with like specific managers, like for the housekeeping, they didn't have an actual department head, they had a manager. So we would send the email to the manager. Was drafting and sending incident reports something you did regularly when you worked at the Intercontinental Hotel? Yes, ma'am. Officer Florez, were you required to alert police about incidents? Yes. Under what circumstances? Depending, like I said, if there was like an altercation and let's say there was a fight and there's like more than, if it was only 3 of us and it was more than 3, then we would call the police so they can assist us. If there was someone trespassing that they didn't want to leave, so let's say they were naked and we couldn't get them out, then we would call the police. The suicide, we would call the police. If there was like a fight and one of them wanted to press charges, then we'll detain them, call the police so they can assist us. Generally speaking, Officer Florez, after you sent an incident report, what would happen? So after we sent the incident report, it was pretty much like completely out of our hands. We were just observing and reporting. So anything that happened, we sent it to them. And then if they needed a follow-up, they would ask questions or they would come to the officer and they would review footage with us. But that's pretty much it. I want to go back to March 5th, 2016. You said you were working that day. Yes, ma'am. What was your shift? The morning shift, which is 6 to 2 p.m. 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Yes, ma'am. Do you remember who else was working with you that day? Henry Elias. And I don't remember the other. There was 2 other guards though. 2 other officers? Yes, ma'am. Now you described an incident that took place that day just a moment ago. Do you remember that? Yes, ma'am. Approximately what time did that incident take place? Around 11 a.m. Now, how were you made aware of the incident? I received a call from instant services and pretty much letting me know that there was a woman in distress on the 6th floor. Where were you when you got this call? I was in the security base. And you said you got this call from instant services? Yes, ma'am. What is instant services? So the hotel has like each floor has a phone. So if you pick it up, it goes directly to them. And it's pretty much you don't have to dial anything. You just pick up the phone, it goes to instant services, and she pretty much directs the call. So if you need like housekeeping, if you need security, she'll direct the call. And what information was provided to you by instant services? The only thing she said was there was a woman in distress on the 6th floor. Did you respond to the call? Yes, ma'am. What, if anything, did you do before responding to the call? I closed down the security base. I checked the cameras to see what was going on because I didn't want to go into a situation where I was, unprepared. I looked at the cameras and I seen a male black just pacing back and forth on the 6th floor. Were you looking at the cameras on the 6th floor in real time? Yes, ma'am. And did you recognize the man pacing back and forth at that time? No, ma'am. Did you rewind the video surveillance to see what had happened before? No, ma'am. Why not? I got the call. I got the call saying that there was a woman in distress. I looked at the camera. I see a man walking back and forth. There was no woman in the video. So I'm thinking something happened because I didn't see a female in the footage. So I wanted to get there as fast as possible to make sure that nothing was going on. Who, if anyone, did you notify of this call at the time that you responded? So when I closed down the security base, I was running to the elevator. I had my radio, so I radioed both my guys to respond back to the security base and just stand by for further. What did you do next? I got on the elevator, went to 6th floor. I got off, and that's when I seen both the individuals. So what happened when you arrived on the 6th floor? I see Mr. Combs in a towel and some like colored socks sitting down to my further away from me on my right side, and I see Miss Cassie in the corner, kind of like covering her face and bundled up in the corner. Did you recognize either of these individuals at this point? Just Mr. Combs. How did you recognize Mr. Combs? He's a rapper and producer. Miss Slavic. Miss Gavin, can you please publish for the witness, the court, and the parties only government exhibits 2A101 and 2A401? Officer Florez, do you recognize these photos? Yes, ma'am. What are they? Picture of Mr. Combs and Miss Cassie. And how do you know these individuals? They were the ones involved in that incident. Are they fair and accurate depictions of the individuals that you encountered in the elevator lobby of the Intercontinental Hotel in March of 2016? Yes, ma'am. Miss Slavic, the government offers government exhibits 2A101 and 2A401 into evidence. The court, any objection? Mr. Steele, no, Your Honor. The court, these exhibits will be admitted. Miss Slavic, Miss Gavin, can you please publish these exhibits for the jury? Officer Florez, can you please identify the individuals in these photos for the jury? To my left is Mr. Combs, and to my right is Miss Cassie. And is the individual on the left in government exhibit 2A101, is that the same person as the individual that you identify as Mr. Combs just a moment ago? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Miss Slavic, Miss Gavin, can you take those down? Now, Officer Flores, you said that you recognized Mr. Combs immediately. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Did you recognize the female immediately? No, ma'am. Did you come to understand the identity of the female? Yes, ma'am. How? Later on in the day when I got home, I went home to tell my wife at the time that what had happened, and she's the one that brought it up like, oh, I think she's objection, hearsay. The court, get a fresh question. Miss Slavic, I'm sorry? The court, can you rephrase your question? Officer Flores, did you come to understand the identity of the female who was there in your elevator lobby? Yes. Who did you come to understand her to be? Miss Cassie. Can you describe Miss Can you describe Mr. Calm's demeanor when you got off the elevator? Yeah, it was so he was on the chair, slouched down, and he was like at a blank stare. And yeah, as soon as I walked out, it was the best way I can describe it is like a devilish stare. He was just like looking at me. So when I got out of the elevator, I kind of was stuck because I'm looking at him. He's looking at me with like no movement. Then he starts to move. What was he wearing? Just a towel and socks. Now, you said that you didn't recognize the woman at the time. Did you hear Mr. Collins refer to the woman? Yes. How did he refer to her, Miss Cece or Cece? And this is the woman that you came to understand it was Cassie? Yes, ma'am. What was the woman's demeanor? Scared. Can you describe what you mean by that? Well, she was in the corner. She had her hoodie on. She was pretty much just covered up. I couldn't see her face, and she was just, just pretty much in the corner. What, if anything, did you notice about the state of the elevator lobby? So every floor had a flower vase and it was destroyed pretty much on the floor. Did you speak to the two individuals? I did. Who did you address first, Mr. Combs? What did you say? I advised them, obviously, like first I was like, hey, what's going on? Obviously, they were arguing. So I told them like, hey, if you guys are going to argue, you guys have to take it back to your room. And then I told them the mess that was there, it was going to be charged to the room. Did you address the woman? Eventually just talk to if she's going to be arguing pretty much to go back to the room. What did she say? She just said that she wanted her phone in her bag and she wanted to leave. What did you do next? After talking to them, I pretty much started escorting both of them back to the room. And then Mr. Combs interact with the woman after you started to escort them back to the room. So I know they were arguing. I don't remember exactly what they were saying, but as I was escorting them, she left the opposite way and we were walking towards the room. And then eventually he tried to like re-engage. And I was just pretty much reminding him like, hey, there's other guests in the hotel, just out of respect for them. Let's go back to the room. What did Mr. Combs say to Cassie as he was trying to re-engage with her? I don't remember. Do you remember Cassie saying anything as she was walking back to the room? Yeah, she was just saying that she wanted to get her phone in her bag and she wanted to leave. And what did Mr. Combs say in response to that? He did not tell her. He did tell her at one point that he said, you're not going to leave. And what did you say? I told him like, well, if she wants to leave, she's going to leave. And that was pretty much it. Did you follow them to their room? Yes, ma'am. Who entered the room? Mr. Combs. Did anyone else enter the room with Mr. Combs? Yes, she finally did, Miss Cassie. Did the door close behind them? No, ma'am. Why did it not close? I put my foot in between the door. Again, she wanted to leave. He said that he had mentioned, I don't want her to leave. Well, I don't want you to leave. So I knew if I let the door close, something can happen. So I put my body in between the door before he closed it and watched her get her stuff. Did you actually enter the room? Half of my body was at the door. The other half was outside the door. Were you able to see inside the room? Yeah, the majority of the room I was able to see. Now, you said that both Mr. Combs and Cassie entered the room. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Besides Mr. Combs and Cassie, was anybody else in the room? Yes, ma'am. Who? It's a black male. It's a male black wearing dark clothing. He was sitting at the corner of the bed. Did you recognize this man? No, ma'am. Was he clothed? Yes. And what was he doing? Nothing. Can you describe his appearance? He was fully clothed black male. He was not engaging in any conversation with either of them. He was just sitting in the corner of the bed. Was he present in the room when Mr. Combs and Cassie entered? Yes, ma'am. Officer Florez, approximately how long were you standing at the door to the room? A couple minutes. Did Mr. Combs say anything else to Cassie? So they were going back and forth. First she was like, can't leave. Then he was telling her to leave. So it was just back and forth between both of them. Did Cassie ultimately leave the room? Yes, ma'am. Which way did she go? Back the same way to the elevator lobby. And where was Mr. Combs when Cassie left the room? In the room. What, if anything, did Mr. Combs do after Cassie left? So after she left, I told him like, hey, stay in the room. Again, everything is going to be charged to your room. As I started walking away, he called for me. He said, hey, I turned around and he was pretty much holding like a stack of money, pretty much. I don't know if that's the best way I can do it. And he was pretty much telling me like, hey, take of this, don't tell nobody, pretty much. What did you understand him to mean when he said, don't tell anyone? A bribe. A bribe to do what? Not to tell anybody. How far away from you was Mr. Combs? He offered you the money. About 3 or 4 feet. Can you describe approximately how much cash he offered you? I don't. It was just a $100 bill on the top, and then the rest were just it was just a stack of money. And just going back to something you said earlier, you said that initially Mr. Combs said you can't leave, and then he eventually said leave. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, back to the cash that Mr. Combs offered you. You said that it was a stack. Yes, ma'am. Approximately, can you show the jury what you mean with your hands? I don't know if you extend your thumb to your pinky. How did you respond to Mr. Combs' offer? I told him I don't want your money. Just go back into your room. Everything is going to be charged to the room and stay in your room. And I left. Did you take the money? No, ma'am. Was there any video surveillance cameras focused on Mr. Combs' room? No, ma'am. Where did you go, Officer Flores, after Mr. Combs tried to hand you this stack of money? I tried catching up to Miss Cassie. Did Mr. Combs follow? No. Where did Cassie go? She went down to the valet area. Where is the valet area? Right in front of the hotel lobby, right outside, pretty much. Outside the hotel? Yes, yes, ma'am. What did you do when you and Cassie were in the valet area? So when I noticed her, she was in the valet area. I still didn't know what had happened. The only thing I saw was the broken vase. So I went up to her. So where the cars pass, there's it's a sidewalk, so it's a step down. She was at the corner or at the edge of it, so I stepped down and I got in front of her, pretty much directly in front of her. And then I was pretty much looking up at her, and then I just started asking her questions. What happened? Are you okay? And then I noticed she had a purple eye, and then I asked her, like, did he do that? Do you want me to call the cops? And all she kept saying is, I just want to leave. Why did you offer to call the cops? I mean, if anybody is going to, if there's an altercation, then I'm still going to be like, hey, do you want to call the cops? And then as a female getting hit, I'm obviously going to ask her if she wants to call the cops. I do understand, that they get scared and they don't want to do anything. So you kind of try to like comfort them and allow them to be like to feel safe. So I asked her if she wanted me to call the cops, and she just kept saying she wanted to leave. Now, to be clear, Officer Flores, at this point, had you seen an altercation? No, ma'am. And at this point, had you reviewed any of the video surveillance? No, ma'am. Did Cassie eventually leave the hotel? Yes, ma'am. How? Excuse me. So after speaking to her, I was trying to get some information. So I walked inside to get Addie, who is a front desk manager. As I was coming back, there was a car that had pulled up and she left in that black SUV. Did she drive herself in that black SUV? No, ma'am. Did she have a driver? Yes. Did you interact with the driver? I did before I went inside. Can you describe the driver? About 7 feet, pretty big guy, black, male black. Did you speak with him? Just briefly, because he interrupted my conversation with her. And can you describe the interaction? So again, I was talking to her, trying to get her to see if she wanted me to call the cops. And he said, hey, she wants to leave. And I looked at him and said, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her. So I continued talking to her. And she said, no, I just want to leave. And I said, hold on, I'll be back. And that's when I left. And you had said that you were trying to get some information from her. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. What sort of information? Just her name, phone number, just in case the hotel wanted to reach out to her for anything in the future. At this point, did you know who she was? No. After Cassie left, Officer Flores, what did you do next? So after she left, obviously I had already gotten Addie, who was a front desk manager, and he said, all right, well, let's go talk to Mr. Combs so we can advise him of the hotel rules. So we went up to his room. And what was the purpose of speaking with Mr. Combs? So from what Addie had told me is it had happened. Hearsay. Miss Slavic, maybe re-ask the question, and if the witness can just listen to the question and then answer. And by the way, Mr. Steele said hearsay. Officer Flores, you said that you and Addie went up to Mr. Combs' room. Yes, ma'am. Why did you go up to Mr. Combs' room? So we can remind him of the hotel rules. Did you make it to his room? Yes, ma'am. Did Mr. Combs come to the door? Yes, ma'am. What was his demeanor as he came to the door? He he opens the door, he closed the door behind him, and immediately he pretty much grabbed Addie's phone. Can you explain how that came to be? Why he grabbed the phone? So Addie, he talks with his hands and he talks. He's always holding his phone. So while he was talking to Mr. Combs, he was doing this. And obviously, Mr. Combs thought he was being recorded. So he grabbed his phone and he was pretty much saying, like, well, he said, "Are you recording me?" And he grabbed the phone. And as he did that, then I pretty much pinned him to the wall and told him to let go of Addie's phone. How did Mr. Combs respond to you pinning him to the wall? I told him to let go of the phone. He eventually did because Addie was like, "I'll show you my phone. I'll show you my phone." So then Addie, was trying to de-escalate the situation. He pretty much opened his phone and said, "I'm not recording you." And he showed everything. So kind of just de-escalated the situation. What happened next? Just told him the same thing I had told him, like everything that happened in the lobby is going to be charged to your room. And he reminded him that it was checkout. So he needed to check out by 3 p.m. Now, you said that you had seen another man in the hotel room when you first responded to the incident. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. During this interaction involving Mr. Combs and Addie, did you see that man in the room again? No, ma'am. Why not? The door was closed behind him. The door was closed behind him. Did you leave Mr. Combs' room after this interaction? Yes, ma'am. Did you do anything else before leaving the 6th floor? Yeah, we went to the elevator lobby, and I don't remember if it was me or Addie, but one of us took pictures of the lobby. Why? It was property damage, and obviously there was broken stuff, so we needed to, one, attach it to the email that I was eventually going to send, and two, so we could send to the housekeeper so she can tell the houseman to clean up. Where did you go next, Officer Florez? We went down to the lobby. I just told him that I would send the email as soon as I can, and I went back to security office. You went back to the security office? Yes, ma'am. And what did you do when you returned to the security office? I started writing the email of what happened. The email incident report? Yes. Can you just remind the jury what an incident report is? Just anything that happened in the incident. So the who, what, when, where, and why. Miss Slavic. Miss Gavin, can you please publish for the witness, the court, and the parties only the first 2 pages of Government Exhibit 7R141? Officer Florez, do you recognize the document on the screen in front of you? Yes, ma'am. What is it? It's the incident report that I sent out. How do you know? My name is on it, and the hotel security email is on top. Did you draft this incident report at or near the time of the actual incident on March 5th, 2016? Yes, ma'am. Did you draft and send incident reports like these in the course of your duties as a security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel? Yes, ma'am. Was drafting and sending reports a regular practice when you were a security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Slavitt, the government exhibit 7R141 into evidence. The court, all right, 7R141 will be admitted. Mr. Steele, same objection. The court noted. Mr. Steele, thank you. Government's exhibit 7R14 received into evidence. Ms. Gavin, can you publish this exhibit for the jury, please? Officer Florez, can you explain to the jury what they are looking at here? The incident report. And did you draft and send this document? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Gavin, could you zoom in on the top portion of the email? Officer Florez, do you see the from line? Yes, ma'am. And what email address is that? That's a security office email. And who was this email sent to? Addie, who was the front desk assistant manager, Bill Madrano, who was my director in the hotel committee, which is all the department heads of the hotel, and Sandy, who was the housekeeping manager. What is the subject of the email? It says pics from the 6th floor. And what about the time and the date and time that the email was sent? March 5th, 2016 at 3 p.m. Now, you testified earlier that you responded to the incident around 11 a.m. that day. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Is the date and time of this email consistent with your recollection of when you sent the incident report? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Slavic, You can zoom out, Miss Gavin. Thank you. Now, Officer Flores, without going line by line, can you just give an overview of what's in the body of this incident report? It's pretty much the incident from start to finish, the date, time when I received the call, and just the incident of me interacting with both the individuals. Did you include the individuals' names in the incident report? Yes, ma'am. Now, you mentioned that you had seen another man in the hotel room. Did you include that fact in the incident report? No, ma'am. Why not? He was irrelevant when I got there. He was irrelevant when I got there. He wasn't at the incident when I got into the room. We didn't talk to nobody. I mean, he didn't talk to nobody, so he was just someone that was just there. And when you say when you got there, he wasn't part of the incident, you mean when you got to the elevator lobby, he wasn't there? Correct. Miss Slavic, Miss Gavin, can you put up pages 3 and 4 of this document side by side? Officer Flores, what is depicted in these photos here? The broken or the damage that was in the 6th floor? Who took these photos? Like I said, it was either me or Addie that took them. Do these photos fairly and accurately depict the condition of the 6th floor elevator lobby where you responded to the incident? Yes, ma'am. And what was the purpose of attaching these photos to the incident report? Again, it was kind of to let them know what had happened, the damage, and also so that the housekeeping manager can see what she needed to do to send the houseman and what the houseman needed to take to clean the damage. Miss Slavic, Miss Gavin, can you put up pages 5 and 6 of this document side by side? Officer Flores, what is depicted in these photos here? That's dirt splattered on the wall, and then that's the flowers that were in the corner. Do these photos accurately depict the wall area of the 6th floor lobby when you responded to the incident? Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Gavin. You can take this down. Now, Officer Flores, after you sent the incident report that we just looked at, who, if anyone, contacted you? The only one that contacted me was my director. And remind the jury who that was, Bill Madrano. What, if anything, did Mr. Madrano tell you to do? Obviously, he had reviewed the email, and all he told me was to objection, hearsay from Mr. Steele. The court overruled. You can answer. He t- he told me to review the footage and then add anything else that I observed on the footage to the email. On the video surveillance footage? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, did you review the video surveillance footage? Yes, ma'am. When did you review the video surveillance footage? Almost simultaneously when we were talking on the phone, I started reviewing, and then I was pretty much telling him telling him what I was seeing, and then that's when he said, "Okay, add that to the email." And why did you review the video surveillance? Same thing. He had told me to review, make sure that there was nothing else that we missed on the first email. Miss Slavic, Your Honor, may I have permission to approach the witness? The court, you may. Officer Flores, I put a drive in front of you. Do you recognize this thumb drive? Yes, ma'am. How do you recognize it? It's the drive that has about 5 videos. Did you review the contents of the drive? Yes, ma'am. When? Yesterday. And did you initial the tag attached to the drive after you reviewed it? Yes, ma'am. Do you see your initials on that tag right there? Yes, ma'am. And again, what is on this drive? It's 2 cell phone videos that I took and 3 other camera footages. Are you in certain of these videos? Yes, ma'am. Do the contents of the drive fairly and accurately depict what you saw on March 5th, 2016? Yes, ma'am. Is that true of each file on the drive? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, the government offers into evidence the contents of this drive. That's government exhibits 3B101, 102, and also 10C 103 through 105. The court, all right, are there any objections that the court has not previously addressed? Mr. Steele, base, no. All right, these exhibits will be admitted. Ms. Slavic, Ms. Gavin, can you please publish Government Exhibit 10C 103? Now, we are going to play this video, Officer Flores, but before we play it, can you just describe to the jury what we're looking at here on the screen? That's the 6th floor elevator lobby. And do you see the timestamps at the top of the video? Yes, ma'am. What do they say? It says March 5th, 2016, 11:10 a.m. And is that generally consistent with your recollection of when this incident took place? Yes, ma'am. Miss Gavin, could you please play the video all the way through, and then we'll go back and walk through specific segments. Officer Florez, I want to walk through this video segment by segment, but first, did the video surveillance at the Intercontinental have audio? No, ma'am. Miss Gavin, could you restart and play the video through 29 seconds? Officer Florez, who is this? Miss Cassie. Do you notice the pixelation in this video? Yes, ma'am. Was that typical of the video surveillance system used at the Intercontinental in March 2016? Yes, ma'am. Miss Gavin, please play through 31 seconds. Who is this individual, Officer Florez? That's Mr. Combs. Miss Slavic, Miss Gavin, please continue playing through 56 seconds. Officer Florez, have you seen this video before you responded to the incident on the 6th floor? Have you seen this video before you responded to the incident on the 6th floor? No, ma'am. Ms. Gavin, please listen. Please listen playing through 1 minute and 16 seconds. What is happening here, Officer Florez? She picked up the phone, so it pretty much went straight to instant services. This is the phone that connected to instant services that you described earlier. Yes, ma'am. Miss Slavic, Miss Gavin, could you continue playing through 1 minute and 26 seconds, please? Now, Officer Florez, did you notice how the video kind of jumped right there? Yes, ma'am. Was that typical of the video surveillance system as well? Yes, ma'am. Miss Gavin, please continue playing through 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Now, first, Officer Florez, can you remind the jury of what Cassie said as she was heading back to the room? She just wanted to get her phone in her bag and wanted to leave. And can you remind the jury of what you found when you arrived at the elevator lobby? The broken vase and flowers that were there. And these were depicted in the photos that we just looked at. Yes, ma'am. Miss Gavin, can you play the video to the end, please? Now, Officer Florez, what do you see here at the very end of this video? It's me coming out of the elevator, the lobby. That's you? Yes, ma'am. Miss Gavin, could you please publish what is in evidence as Government Exhibit 10C 104? Now, Officer Florez, before we start playing this video, can you please explain to the jury what we're looking at here? We're looking at the north hallway of the 6th floor. So where in relation to this, to the video that we see on the screen, is the elevator lobby that we saw in the previous video? To the right. Those doors to the right? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Gavin, could you please start at 3 minutes and 19 seconds and play to 3 minutes and 24 seconds? Who do you see in that little clip that we just played, Officer Florez? Ms. Cassie going soft on the hallway and me going back to the lobby? Ms. Gavin, I want you to continue playing through 7 minutes and 7 seconds. Officer Florez, I'm going to ask you some questions as we play the video. Now, who is in this frame? Myself and Mr. Combs. And what was happening here? Pretty much just escorting him back to his room. What, if anything, was Mr. Combs saying at this time? I don't remember, but I'm sure I was just letting him know, like, we got to go back to your room. Now, here around this 4 minutes and 48-second timestamp, what's happening here? Miss Cassie is coming back north on the hallway. And what, if anything, was Mr. Combs saying to Cassie? Pretty much started to argue again. I'm trying to de-escalate, telling him to go back to the room. Here around 5 minutes and 5 minutes and 20-second timestamp, 5 minutes and 22 seconds timestamp, what is happening here? That's when she is saying she wants to get her cell phone in her bag and she wants to leave. And she's heading towards the room. Yes, ma'am. This is around the 5 minutes and 51-second timestamp. Who is this? It's a houseman that's in charge of that floor. Was he involved in the incident at all? No, ma'am. And that is around the 6 minutes and 17-second timestamp. Who is this in the frame? That's Miss Cassie going back to the lobby, elevator lobby. Here around the 6 minute and 38 second timestamp. Who is this? That's me. Where were you going? Going to catch up to Miss Cassie. Why did you go down this hall? So what I was checking was the stairwell that leads to the bottom floor, and I didn't see her in the lobby. So either she had gotten in or she probably went through the stairs. So I was checking to see if I can hear her going down the stairs. You are just checking for Cassie? Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Gavin. You can take this down. Now, Officer Florez, had you reviewed this video surveillance before you sent the incident report? No, ma'am. And after reviewing the video surveillance, did you call the police? No. Why not? After speaking to her, she didn't respond to any of my questions. She was just saying, I want to leave. I just want to leave. And even when I offered her, like, hey, the cops can go to the back of the building, nobody is going to see. She just kept saying, I just want to leave. So there was no victim there. Obviously, nobody was pressing charges. And then by the time I did drop up the email, everybody was gone because Mr. Combs had left already. At that point, did you know who Cassie was at that point? No. Did you have any of her contact information? No. Now, can we pull up the incident report at 7R141? Please, Ms. Gavin, can you highlight the third paragraph? Officer Florez, you just said that at the point that you drafted and sent the incident report, Mr. Combs had left the hotel. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Can you remind the jury what the manager told Mr. Combs when you were at the Mr. Combs hotel door? Pretty much the same thing, that everything that had happened in the elevator lobby was going to be charged to the room. And he reminded him that checkout was coming up. So he needed to check out and leave. And focusing on one of the, I guess, third to the last sentence, starting with he saw MOD Addie holding his phone. Miss Gavin, can you just highlight that sentence? Officer Florez, can you read beginning at no one was recording? No one was recording him, that the safety and the privacy of the guest is important to the hotel. And if he tried to do something like that, he will get kicked out and escorted off the property by LAPD. And that's the Los Angeles Police Department. Yes, ma'am. And thank you, Miss Gavin. You could take that down. And you said that Mr. Combs did eventually leave the hotel. Yes, ma'am. Now, going back to your review of the video surveillance, what, if anything, did you add to the incident report after you reviewed the video surveillance? Pretty much the whole altercation between him and her. You included a description of that altercation? Yes, ma'am. Did you attach the video to the supplemented incident report? No, ma'am. Why not? I had no way of doing that. No password, and I didn't know how to do it. Now, Officer Florez, what else, if anything, did you do with the video surveillance capturing this incident? Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. Did you do anything else with the video surveillance after you reviewed it? Oh yeah, I recorded two videos of the video. How did you record those 2 videos? With my cell phone. What kind of phone did you have? An iPhone. Why did you record it with your iPhone? Again, I was going home, and if I would have told my wife, hey, this is what happened, she would not have believed me. So here's a video. When did you make these cell phone recordings? Right after, while I was still at work that same day, Miss Slavic. Miss Gavin, can you please publish what's in evidence as government exhibit 3B102? Officer Florez, before we start this video, can you just explain what we're looking at? The 6th floor elevator lobby. And what video is this? This is mine. One of your cell phone videos? Yes, ma'am. Miss Gavin, can you play the video? And Officer Florez, can you just talk us through what's happening? Actually, pause, please. Officer Florez, is there sound in this video? Background noise, yes. What do you mean by background noise? I was recording with my phone, so anything that was happening in the office, you'll be able to hear it. Thank you. Keep playing, Miss Gavin, please. What is happening here, Officer Florez? I'm pretty much explaining everything that I'm seeing and that they had to go to their room. I'm telling them, obviously there is damage to the lobby, so that's going to be that needs to get fixed, and it is going to be charged to the room. Who was that? That was me. Officer Florez, was the portion of the video that we just watched, was that portion captured on the videos that we watched just a moment ago? No. Did you record any other portions of this incident? Just an altercation between them two and this one. Miss Slavic. Miss Gavin, could you please publish government exhibit 3B101 and could you start playing the video? Whose voice could you just hear, Officer Florez? That was Henry Elias. Another security officer? Yes, ma'am. Now, going back to 146, please, Miss Gavin, and thank you. Officer Florez, what do you see towards the back of the video? What do you mean? Like in the back of the video, what do you see? I see Mr. Combs sitting down. And how is that reflected backwards? I guess I don't know. In other words, can you explain the layout of the 6th floor lobby? Yeah, so he's obviously in the mirror. You can see that he's on the right side, but he's actually on the left. And in other words, the image that you see of Mr. Combs sitting in the chair, that's him being reflected in the mirror. Yes, ma'am. Can you continue to play Miss Gavin through the end? Thank you. You can take that down, Miss Gavin. Officer Florez, did you record any other portion of the video surveillance of this incident? No, ma'am. Did you download the videos from the hotel's computers? No, ma'am. Why not? Like I said, I didn't have no password and I didn't know how to do that. Only the director knew how to do that. Besides these 2 videos that you recorded with your iPhone, do you have any other copies of the video surveillance? No, just the ones that I recorded. Now, you mentioned that you discussed the incident with your supervisor, Bill Madrano. Is that right? Yes. Who else at Secure Readers, if anyone, did you discuss the incident with? The incoming security guards. The incoming security guards, again, I had to give them a pass down. I explained to them that what had happened, showed them the video just so they know what happened, pretty much. And who specifically were those guards that you gave the pass down to, the afternoon supervisor and the incoming guards? Who were they? It was Eddie, who was the afternoon supervisor, and then I can't remember the other guy's name. What is Eddie's last name, Garcia? What else, if anything, did you do to document the incident before you left that day? Just the email and the pass down book that I had started earlier. Did you work the following day? No, ma'am. Why not? My days off were Sunday, Monday. When was the next day that you returned to work? On Tuesday. Did you try to view the video surveillance footage when you returned to work? I did. One of the guards that wasn't there, I'm not sure if he was on vacation or something, he wasn't there. He comes up, obviously he get there. He said, hey, I've been trying to see the video you've been talking about. I can't see it. Oh, I know where it's at, right? So I go to the camera system. I try to review it, but the camera is blue. So it was typical for those cameras to go off. So we didn't think anything of it, like it's gone pretty much. What did you do when the video wasn't available? I told him that I had taken a video with my phone. I showed him with my phone. Did you see the video surveillance footage again, Arthur, March 2016? Yes. Under what circumstances? On the news. And when was that you saw the video in the news? Last year, May, something like that. Just a moment, Your Honor. Nothing further. The court. All right. Cross-examination. So we're going to stop here for today. So right now, now the defense will actually do a cross-examination of the witness, okay? And we will pick back up later. So what do y'all think about that? This is about the surveillance, so we're going to get into the cross-examination. Let me actually read the chat and then let's close out. Hold on. Jay Boosie says, on the 6th floor, Diddy really tied for that. Well, I mean, they're going to get into it. Obviously, other people have had access to it as well. So, yes, that's the domestic violence hotline for those that need it. You better read. Okay, let me actually go down. But yeah, these documents are like 200 something pages each, okay? Yeah, I'm trying because if I don't change my voice slightly, then I will have to keep on saying who's talking, and I don't want to keep on saying this person's saying this or this person's saying that. So I have to kind of slightly change it. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Okay, I think somebody said it was their birthday. I'm trying to see that before I get off. Okay, so shout out to On One, happy birthday. Make sure y'all put some birthday balloons in the chat. Birthday balloons in the chat to say happy birthday to On One. Yeah, something. Yes, put some birthday balloons in the chat. Happy birthday. I hope you enjoy your special day. I'm scrolling through. He actually wasn't supposed. He probably was not supposed to record that on his phone. Okay, and to go home and show his wife. Okay, but you know he did. I mean, he already knew it was Diddy, so he probably wanted to keep like record it for his own copy. He didn't recognize Cassie at first because his wife is the one that told him like who she was, but he did recognize Diddy. Exactly. Well, this doesn't really say all the details about the footage yet. Okay. There's still going to be more obviously witnesses and people coming forward about the actual like how to actually leak, because right here they're not really saying he leaked it. So we don't know yet. You know, I don't know. This is day one. I have, of course, there's going to be there's other documents, but we don't know. I don't know. Okay, but and here it doesn't say that he's not saying that he said he didn't take the money or anything. So obviously somebody else had to do something. And he said that there's other people with higher up with more access. And then they went back and then the footage was not there. So there's gonna be more stuff. Okay, because keep on, like he said, he didn't take the money. He said that, and he said that when they went to look at the footage, it was no longer there. And there's a reason they're asking questions about like who has access. So maybe somebody else with a higher access and more power did something. I don't know, but we'll see as time goes on. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add this to my video tab for part 2. And in the next slide, we will continue on with the cross-examination of them talking about the video surveillance. And then from there, we'll get into Cassie. And the Cassie one is going to be word for word of Cassie understand everything that was said the last 2 days for Cassie. All right, y'all. See y'all next slide. And make sure on the replay, smash that like button. That's a free way to what? Support your girl, Chantel.